Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Annamorfidis and I am the founder of Mending Hearts Counseling, where we provide tangible support for mending hearts. I don't like to use the word broken hearts because it is in my studies that I have been taught that we are actually not born broken. We are born whole and complete, and somewhere along the way, as we transition from an infant to a toddler to an adolescent, we absorb life and we integrate it into our neurons and our nervous system, and it becomes the blueprint of who we are as adults. And in particular, I wanted to speak about the way that we interact with people of the opposite sex or the same sex or whoever it is that you're attracted to. So basically, relationships. How does the blueprint that we built within ourselves as we grow up, how does that blueprint affect the people that we attract into our lives as we become adults and we start to want to be in relationships, in particular the ones of a romantic kind? So in my understanding is that we actually start to develop our nervous system in the womb as we are in our mother's womb, as an embryo, as an infant. We are already starting to form our nervous system. The most primitive and largest nerve that we house in our body is called the vagus nerve, and it runs from the neck all the way down. And it is the one that starts to form how the feminine energy actually gives and receives love, which makes sense that the feminine energy would be the mother, because the mother is the one that actually is housing the embryo in her womb. So the way that the mother gives and receives love, starting from that point on, will be a big part in how your nervous system will integrate itself and what signals it's going to fire as you keep growing older. So, for example, if you are in a household where your primary caregiver or your mother or your father, whatever feminine energy was the prominent one in taking care of you, they will have a big part in what furthermore neurological synapses you create within your body. And that will become the hard drive of the information that it will give to you for each and every day that you wake up out of bed. This is how you are going to experience life. So if you are born in a household where your mother or your primary caregiver or your father, the primary caregiver figure was of anxious style, and not to say anything bad about them, but these are intergenerational patterns. Like if people are just born into certain ways of being because perhaps their parents were anxious, and maybe perhaps their parents were anxious because they lived through a war and they had to be anxious because food was scarce, or they were scared for their life, or we don't know what it is that causes people to have anxiety, but we do know that that anxiety does carry over to the offspring and it does integrate into the nervous system. So if you grew up in a household where it was fear-based, anxiety-based, then your lack or your sense of safety within yourself will be in lack. It won't be there full and complete. It starts to break. I feel like this is where the concept of a broken heart starts to come in, because we are born whole and complete, and then through these experiences with our primary caregivers, we slowly start to change our programming, and then we interpret life based on our caregiver. It takes one caregiver to be the one that has the most impact on us. So It is the one that spends predominantly the most time with us. In my case, for example, I grew up in a household that was, I would say, I'm not so sure if it was fear-based, but there was a lot of socioeconomic constructs that surrounded us that we were always conscious of. So there was fear about not overstepping boundaries to appear a certain type of way to society. And I think that creates a lot of anxiety, and a lot of guilt and shame comes with that, because you're always scared of hurting someone, or saying the wrong thing, or perhaps like not wearing your skirt might be too short, or people are going to talk about you, or things like that. I feel like those types of things create fear and anxiety, and sort of, it makes us feel like as if the world is not safe. It makes you feel as if you can't wear a short skirt and be outside and be not talked about. Or if, I hope that is making sense. There's just so much more. And then especially if, for example, parents are not educated to know to perhaps not use, like back in the day, spanking was allowed. That was just a thing. Even at my school, our teachers were able to spank us. So that also destroys the safety of a child. Like physical abuse is something that causes neurological harm, and then we carry that in the future. But our parents didn't know that. They also got hit too, and probably even more from their teachers. And then it was just a pattern that kept being carried over. But now we know different. Now we know that this sort of abuse leads to negatively unhealthy attachment styles. So there are 4 types of attachment styles. About 60% of the population is securely attached, and then the other 40% of the population falls into the 3 categories that are non-securely attached. And these categories have a negative self-view. So when we have a negative self-view, we think thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not safe, I am unlovable. These are just some of the examples of the thoughts that can predominantly run the hard drive of your nervous system. So each day that you wake up, this is what you tell yourself you are worth, deserve, and that is what you experience from your romantic relationships. So it is very common that I work with people and they will ask me questions such as, why is this happening to me? Why can't this person love me the way that I want to be loved? Why are they treating me so poorly? Why are they disrespecting me? And then the truth is, they don't mean to do this. No one means to do anything to us. We interpret people and situations according to the core beliefs that have shaped us from when we were young. The things that we absorbed from our caregivers and from the world and from society, and that information that was integrated into, starting with our vagus nerve and to the rest of our neurological system. Those are the signals that determine the relationships that we find ourselves into as adults. So once we know this, once we can determine what our attachment style is, for example, my attachment style was anxious, very negative self-view. Therefore, I didn't think that I was worth a lot, to be honest, because this is how I grew up. And through recapitulation, this same scenario was reflected back to me as an adult, because the same programming was running my system. Always in fear, always in guilt, always sort of like wanting to please others so they can love me. But I didn't understand that I needed to change the way that I looked at myself. I needed to change my own blueprint for love, to know that I am worthy, that I am good enough. And then once I started to do that work, I did positive affirmations every morning for 21 days. I would look at myself in the mirror and I would tell me how beautiful I am, how worthy I am, how great I am, how smart I am, and all these things that I was awaiting for the world to say it to me, to validate me. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't matter how many people tell us this, as long as we don't believe it, then it actually won't really change our nervous system, because that's still external. The power is all within here. Then I also started to practice gratitude. Every morning I would wake up and I would say the things that I was grateful for in my relationships, all my relationships with my siblings, with my parents, with my in-laws, with my partner, with my children. And I noticed that that would also start to change and shift the relationships, because I was no longer in the state of like, why is this happening? I would literally say out loud the things that I was grateful for what I was experiencing, and have the knowing that whatever it is that I wanted and desired, once I knew that I needed to change my core beliefs about myself, that I can actually have that be reflected back to me in from any relationship that surrounded me. And my partner actually has dramatically changed since I started to believe that I was worth all these things. Like, I want to say magically it was reflected back to me, but it's not by magic or by chance. It literally is the way that this energetic part of ourself works. The predominant thoughts that we have in our mind, they run the hard drive of our nervous system, and that nervous system in turn creates the energetic field that we walk in, the energetic field that we wake up in each and every day. And that energetic field is what attracts what we experience. Like attracts like. It's one of the basic laws of chemistry. I'm hoping that you're finding this helpful, and I would like to make my next video on how to break the patterns of our limiting beliefs, how to figure out what our core beliefs are first and foremost, what our attachment styles are, what are the things that you say to yourself, what is your view of self. Are you someone that looks at yourself and thinks that has a positive self view, or you look at yourself and create a negative self view? And then we can then further untwist. There's many ways that you can actually untwist limiting beliefs and core beliefs through cognitive behavioral therapy, and through narrative therapy, and through, what is the other one? Dialectical behavioral therapy. We can knock those beliefs down. We can rewire a system. We can wake up to a different self each and every day. There are tools out there that are available to us at any time, and I would love to be able to share those tools with you that I've been so blessed to learn, and not only learn and apply to myself, but also learn how to help others apply to self. So yes, my next video I will actually spend on the tools that we have available to us to use to recognize what our core beliefs are, and then how it is that we can change them. So then in turn, we can change the relationships that we are in our daily life today. And in particular, the ones that are of soulmate, no, how would I word that? Soulmate nature. The soulmate nature connection can be found in a romantic partner, in your siblings, in your parents, in your friends. This is the most common relationship that takes place in our life, and our soulmates literally reflect back to us the energy that we are. So when we are in a relationship and we're asking that question, why is this happening? Why am I experiencing this? This is a great way to answer back to yourself. That same question is what will help you untwist and take away that is not serving you. So instead of thinking, why is this happening? It can be reframed to, I am so grateful that this person in this moment is challenging me in this way, because I can see where my programming is a little bit broken, and this is the work that I need to do to fix it. I am so grateful that you are showing me in this moment that I feel not worthy of this, but in reality I am. And a thought is a thought, and a thought can be changed. So how do we change those thoughts? We're gonna tune into my next video where we, literally learn cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, and that will give us the power to change our unserving thoughts and bring ourselves to where we want to be in our relationships, especially the romantic ones, because they are the ones that occupy the most of our time in our adult self. And it's so nice when we find peace and love within ourselves, and that be reflected back to us from that particular relationship. So I'm going to end my video in my gratitude for you, the viewer, the watcher, the mother, the sister, the friend, whoever is watching me. Thank you so much. I wouldn't be able to live my purpose if it wasn't for you, my beautiful viewers. And if you have any questions or anything arises, or there's something that you want to know more, please do put it in the comment box below. I would love to hear what you have to say, or if there's something that perhaps was not explained properly you would like to hear more of. And so I look forward to seeing you in my next video, where we talk about core beliefs and limiting beliefs and how we can change those, so we can then in turn change ourselves to have that soulmate that we have been yearning for be reflected back to us and who we truly are. Enjoy the rest of your day. Wishing you much gratitude and love, and see you next time. Bye.